What's good, YouTube land? That Word Collector here. It's almost time for The Last Jedi. And in honor of that, it's time for a goddamn lightsaber review. And not just any lightsaber, Kylo Ren's lightsaber. With packaging appropriate packaging. I lost the word there. So this is Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I don't know what else to say. I guess we'll take a look at the packaging. You got a picture of Rey holding Luke's lightsaber, or Anakin's lightsaber, whichever you feel like. Is that Poe? I'm just going to assume that's Poe. And Finn right there looking off to the side. It has lights and sounds. It shows Battle Crash Rumble with this lightsaber block crossing blades with Rey's lightsaber. Obviously Star Wars The Last Jedi. The Disney logo. Disney Store logo. So I did actually buy this from the Disney Store at the Rito Center on sale. And we got a picture here of 3 AT-ATs. Obviously, if you don't know what it is, Kylo Ren lightsaber. Motion sensor controlled sound effects. Warning, small parts, blah 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 blah. I like the TIE fighters in the background and the random smoke clouds there. I don't know what planet this is that's on, but it's not going to be stable for very long. It takes 3 AAA batteries, and it shows you where they are. Actually, I'll have to actually look on the lightsaber where they are. And just information, basically, please don't eat any of this. And nothing on the other side. I guess I'll just quickly get it open, hopefully. There is actually a lot of tape. So I don't know how long this will take. Actually, a couple seconds. Never mind. So here we go with Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Probably the most controversial part of The Force Awakens media was the reveal of Kylo Ren's lightsaber with the crossguard. And when I first saw it, I immediately questioned why he had a crossguard. Because if my hand's like here, well, my thought was, couldn't you slice off your own hand with the crossguard if you're spinning it? And you probably could if you were spinning it like General Grievous and not paying attention to where the crossguard was. But no, the more I hear about it, the more it makes sense. Based off an old sword design, because swords have had crossguards for ages. And also, the Kyber crystal in here is cracked. I'm in here, you know what I mean. So it's a lot less stable than a regular crystal, and the crossguard is needed to vent the excess energy, which turns into, well, I don't know what these look like, but in the movie they're supposed to be fiery. We'll take a look at the hilt. Very simple, but that is also very nice. It's also very nice to hold, if I can say that. There's nothing really getting in the way of your grip. We can look on the back. This is the stuff that's normally like on the front of like Kylo Ren's lightsaber. So they just put this on the back. I don't know how accurate this is, although I've seen this on every single Kylo Ren lightsaber I've looked at. You got your battery compartment. Where is it? I know there's a screw there. I highly doubt. No, that's not the battery compartment. I'm trying to actually find where the battery compartment is. But you've got exposed circuitry. It's supposed to be an archaic design, not as refined as the modern lightsabers, so to speak. You have nice bronze details. And if you don't know where the activation button is, there's a handy Try Me sticker, which I shall remove now. Off camera. But there you go. Another thing I like about the blade is the activation, like the button, it's basically right near your thumb. Like I don't have, if I'm holding it in one hand, I just put my thumb up, press on the button, and it's activated. Like I like how that works, so to speak. I think this part, you can kind of tell, is a little bit bent upwards. I'm just going to assume that's an issue at manufacturing, and your mileage may vary on that. Although this one kind of looks a bit bent down. It's kind of hard to show when I don't have a lot of room with the camera. If I just move it up a little. I'll move it up a little. Yeah. And then you have this exposed piece down here. A bit more bronze detailing with the button right there. And a little nub of red on the bottom, which prevents it from standing up in a display properly. So, oh well, can't display it on my shelf. Immediate failure! Piece of crap! Nah, I'm kidding. You got the red wire going down all the way to right there. And we can look at the blade. Now, there was no way a toy could recreate the fiery effect of Kylo Ren's lightsaber in the movie. So what they've done, I don't know how well you can see it, but they've actually textured the blade up until about this point. So if I can't show the whole thing, but right up until here, this whole part is textured to, I guess, try and get the imagery that it's sparking, static, unstable, something. But the tip all the way is solid and smooth. Blade, definitely strong. It's bendy to the point where it won't break if you hit it against something like another lightsaber, but it's also strong enough to not be flimsy. You can kind of see, I think there is actually a bend in mine. Again, that might be a manufacturing issue, that might be something to do with packaging, I'm not sure. Your mileage may vary. Right all the way to the tip. There are like what look like little blue lines right here, and a lot of molded, like a bit more molded in detail that I haven't mentioned. Obviously, this conforms to EU regulations, or whatever the CE stands for. Canadian regulations, I'm not sure. You've got a freaking copyright stamp by the Disney store, and just a code. So I've been putting off long enough. Let's get to the sound. So you've got 3 modes: off, trial, and on. So if I get in the middle, you can hit trial, and we shall listen to the sound for trial. So it goes through all the power up, the waving, the motion sensor, the rumble feature, and the power down. Now if I'll just I'll switch it on so we can get a good look again. One thing I really like about this is it activates the blade first before activating the crossguards, which is completely something Kylo Ren did in the Force Awakens. He, especially in that last fight against Finn and Rey, that was one of the first thing he did was he activated the blade, and then the crossguards popped out a couple seconds later, which I really like that this toy at least tries to recreate imagery from the movie. But let's turn it on. You get the full blade, lights up beautifully. You do have the power down. The sound is slightly different on this lightsaber than the standard ones because this is unstable. It's kind of on fire. It creates a crackling kind of noise, along with these the crossguard bits. Something about them makes me wish they could have been molded in better, but you know, this is a $30 toy. This is still on the cheap end of the spectrum. If you want a more accurate prop, like basically prop replica, you can go spend $200 on the Force Effects one, and even that wouldn't look accurate because it would look, the blade and the crossguards would look like this, look exactly like that. Like they, yeah. So I'm gonna turn it on and we'll go over the other sounds. So I can hit it for the battle, like the crashing sound. You can hear the waving, and if I hold it, you get the battle clash, I think. Yeah, you have to put some pressure on it like that. But it actually creates something of a battle clash of like your lightsaber vibrating and flashing. Let me just try and let me grab another lightsaber. I grabbed so I'll turn it off. Yep, I grabbed that one because it made the most sense. So for comparison, here's how it looks next to, oh my god, the old school, not the old school, well this is probably old school because it's a lot thicker, but Rey's lightsaber at the basic retail price without the electronics. They're about the same height, but this one has a lot more weight to it. That's something I forgot to mention. This thing has a bit of heft to it, where this thing just, it feels like I'm just holding a piece of plastic. Like very thin. So for another comparison, here it is with the one step up for retail. His grandfather's lightsaber, Darth Vader's. This is the generic electronic model from, I think, a few years ago. I assume they're still putting these out at like Walmart and places. As I said, I picked this up at the Disney store. I assume there's some in the States, but I don't know. This is the one with just the slide out blade that extends. You can hear the sound. See, that's generic standard, and this is a bit more energetic. And also, this thing doesn't have the crash sound effect. Which you'd all know if you watched my video on my lightsaber collection, which has over 10,000 views, so thank you for that. That's how it looks with his grandfather's lightsaber, because his father is Han Solo. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched The Force Awakens. I don't know why you wouldn't, other than people who hate Kylo Ren's character. And I forgot to call it the Farce and Gorgeous. Here, the only one that kind of combines the two gimmicks is this one that I have. This one again from Disney, but it has the slide out wrist flick with the electronics. I just felt like bringing that out because it's also a Disney saber. And I'll just put this down. And take a look at it compared to a Force FX lightsaber. So obviously the blades aren't going to be anywhere near as long, like the same length. Kylo Ren's is quite a bit shorter. If I can show you, how do I show this? Oh jeez. I'll put them next to each other, and you can just see. Yep. Not a measurement, but yeah. It is quite a bit smaller because it is still made for a kid, while the Force FX could probably be played with a kid. It's not exactly designed for a kid. It's heavy metal, and it has the blade, which they feel similar, although this one's definitely like a bit more bent, a bit more flexible. This one almost looks like a light tube, as I always recalled it. But we can hear the sounds again. I'll reactivate Darth Maul's, because the sound effects come from here at the bottom. Deactivate. Yeah, while Darth Maul's has the default sound effects, it also does, well, I'm comparing them because this is the closest to a Force FX for cheap, like in terms of blade quality and sound effects. While this has the flashing, Darth Maul's doesn't have the flashing gimmick, like when you clash them. But, yep. Geez, that felt like a ramble and a half. But last thoughts on Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I really enjoy lightsabers no matter what, and just walking home from the Rito Center holding this thing make me feel like the nerdiest badass you could think of. It's got a bit, again, I'm going to mention, it's got a lot more weight to it than the generic ones you'll find at Walmart. At least I think so. I haven't bought a lightsaber in a long time. I think the last one I actually purchased for myself was that Darth Maul Force FX lightsaber. You can go cheaper than this. They do sell the non-electronic Kylo Ren lightsabers for about $20. Now I only paid $25 plus tax for this because it was on sale. But generally this thing in the Disney store is about $37 before tax. So if you, is that a recommendation? If you want a version of Kylo Ren's lightsaber from The Force Awakens and probably The Last Jedi, because that movie hasn't come out yet, at a reasonable price with the electronics, this is, I think, the only one that you're going to get. Also at the Disney store, they had Rey's lightsaber and Darth Vader's lightsaber in the same style. I'm not sure if I'll pick them up, but judging by this, they definitely seem like good quality lightsabers. So, thank you for watching. Let the Force be with you, and have a good night. And I'll see you next time. But until then, keep it weird. Dang it, I screwed that up.